Okay, we're gonna talk about queercore, or the so-called queercore, homocore scene. The main progenitors of the punk scene in Los Angeles in the 70s were, first of all, women and queers. But then things shifted and it became more macho, more boys club, more just icky. There were those of us who kind of felt sort of alienated in that we were too gay for this new punk scene, but we were too punk for the gay world. And so there were those of us here in Los Angeles and other major cities like Toronto, San Francisco, New York, London, who just started to, create their own little thing. And it was something that was just done very organically. 1, 2, 3, 4. We said that these were the queer punk bars, but they were basically hustler bars and dive bars. I acted like it was a huge scene of people, and every night there was like an amazing event to go to. And it was just hyperbole, But it's funny that just by my saying these things, it sprang up. And thus it came to be, like magic. And that's a thing that people can do now. If there's something that's lacking, if you're seeking a scene, you have to first envision it, and then it can become a reality. I first started making films and movies on actual film, on Super 8 and 16 millimeter back in the late 70s. And then when I started to work with Amoeba Records and Filmworks, I started to work on video. Video's really cheap and whatnot.
Oh, hi, Vaginal. Hi, Fertile. Come on in. Oh, new boyfriend. Listen, Fertile is having her baby. She's in labor right now.
Constantly rejected by the gay and lesbian film festivals for my movies. Their rejection letter was like saying basically all these things about how awful, how bad, how you should never make any movies, how just the most awful discouragements possible for my film of that fertile feeling, which now is a classic.
What happened to that? She just has 11 babies and she takes off, just like that.
But at the time, gay and lesbian film festivals were just like horrified, completely horrified.
You get off of that skateboard, you just had 11.
How I came about producing the zine for Toya Jackson magazine, I just was sort of responding to the fact that I felt like such a outsider, crazy faggot, and the fact that I never had any relationships, I never had any boyfriends or things like that, and all I did was just doing my crazy little art projects. And I thought that if I had a magazine, it would be an excuse to interview cutie pies.
I named it after one of my Afro sisters, Fertile Toya Jackson.
Oh, that looks great.
I was going to name the magazine Vaginal Davis magazine, but then I wanted to have a little bit of distance from myself. So then I decided to name it after one of my Afro sisters in my group, Fertile Toya.
You want a copy of Fertile?
So the tone of the magazine I set at an early stage was that this magazine is the most important magazine that's ever existed, and that it's a privilege for you to be part of this magazine, to be interviewed for it, or even mentioned in it. And it kind of worked. When I started getting orders from as far away as Argentina, Australia, all throughout Europe and Latin America, then I realized that I caught on to some kind of zeitgeist, something that was bigger than what I initially envisioned. After many years, I just got basically tired of that format. And then I thought that, wouldn't it be really great to do it as sort of like a 60 Minutes? I wanted to do sort of like an avant-garde news magazine. But we were going to do it on the same way that we were doing the print, very cheaply with just some little tiny home camera. And we used just the microphone that came in. This tells you how non-technical we were. And with no tripod, just out there, out on the streets. And this was like the true, real reality television.
Yes, we're out here on world famous Santa Monica Boulevard. It's a very
So we went out on the mean streets of Santa Monica Boulevard with our shaky camera, and we just stopped the girls and just started to talk to them.
Where do they get their fashion?
Now all prostitution is via the internet, so no one is a streetwalker anymore. But back in those days, in the early 90s, there were the transsexual prostitutes.
Beautiful makeup.
No! If this was a mainstream news outlet, they would be asking, they'd be all serious and like, oh, why are you a prostitute? Why are you out here selling your body on the street? Isn't it dangerous? No, I would ask them about their clothing choices.
Tell us something about fashion, because you're a very fashionable young woman.
Unfortunately, this evening I have a run, and it's going all with my thigh. But that will not stop me from doing a fabulous show because I have fashion in this bag.
It was streetwalker fashion.
I have a bra, gloves, pantyhose, thigh-high boots, and more makeup.
Can you tell us some of your fashion secrets?
And sometimes we'd be interrupting them trying to pick up tricks.
She's hot.
And then sometimes the suburban tranny chasers would be caught on film too.
I'm a pure man. I don't go for these women, man, or man, or whatever.
It was just like, whatever happened, happened. And I did 3 for Toya Jackson magazines. There was the Kinky issue, there was the premiere issue, the Kinky issue, and then there was the Earthquake issue after the 1994 earthquake. But the Earthquake issue was never released. It's the lost issue of Fertile Toya Jackson. You know, the do-it-yourself way of distribution was how the video magazine got out there. You know, it's been shown in lots of film festivals and in galleries and museums, and it's been shown all over the world.
Next step is space.
This body ain't big enough for this woman. She's got to get bigger and sexier and more luscious. And I want to have that hot lesbian sex with you now, girl. Is it okay? Can I suck your titties?
The gay world became more open to what I did, but only after I had more established myself outside of the gay world. Then festivals would bring me in to have, as I would call them, retrospectacles of my oeuvre. You know, but at first, oh my God, the hatred was beyond. You know, they had to tell you just why it was so bad. They had to spell it out that you should never be behind a camera. They took it that strongly, you know, and which shows you that you're really doing something right, you know. And to me, it's much more. It's better being hated than loved. You know, I much prefer bad reviews than good reviews, because when someone's giving you especially a really vitriolic bad review, it shows that they were really paying attention, you know, and you really touched something with them, you know. I much prefer bad reviews to good reviews.
Here we are with all the hot, beautiful women out here in Hollywood. Yay!